happy to be here and to get the opportunity to listen to Paolo. He's from Italy and he has a long story as an entrepreneur. More than 15 years working on the internet marketplace, if you want. And he started his own company when he was just 18 years old. He rejected a couple of Google offers, and he even, as I understand, was about to get involved in a social media project, but then he decided to stop, and he has told me that was kind of a mistake that it will be interesting to talk about. So we want to say welcome, Paolo, and just before we get started, two reminders. Remember that tomorrow we'll be hosting a webinar online, of course, about the admissions process that begins on Monday. So please spread the word. Application process opening on Monday, and of course we want thousands of applications to come in. So, that being said, Paolo, please talk to us, share your story, and welcome again to the program.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the introduction. And you know, I'm not 60 years old. I'm young, I'm 34 now. So, I want this thing not just to be the list of what I've done. I want maybe to pick some interesting point of what I've done in the last 15 years. I call them like pivotal points, something that, you know, happened really important, that, you know, maybe issues that I had, problems, mistakes, or big success, or something in the middle. So I tried to pretty much go through the timeline of the events. I would say that's going to be easier for me. But I really want you to interact with me. Like, I tried to be not that really straight. So actually, Maite is gonna help me a lot. Like, if I'm going out of track, or I'm like talking too much, or if she sees something interesting to share better. So yeah, I just wanna, you know, a communication with you, and you know, I would be very happy to answer to your questions and doubts and anything. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it. I don't have a presentation, like nothing prepared. It's gonna be very natural, very freestyle. I do have actually just a few images I want to share with you at the very end. They may be banal, but I think it's really, really important for entrepreneurs of any age, and the people who wrote the things you're going to see today are really successful. Well, one is on our Facebook. Another one is a dear friend of mine, David Weekley. I've been one of my mentors in Silicon Valley, and he's really good into communication with people. Yeah, so it's gonna be maybe a slide just in the back. So, where should I start? Yeah, as she said, I mean, I want to focus pretty much on some professional accomplishment. I started my, I would say, first company when I was 18. I haven't even started the university yet at the time. I was just finishing my degree from, you know, the college, and I just want to know more about the internet. The internet was just getting to be known, and I'm from Italy, and Italy, it was at the time still already a little bit advanced. I had my first email when it was 92, so I was about 15 years old. And then when I found out about domain names, the first thing that I've done, I bought the domain name of the city where I've been living in. Name is Mestre, is the mainland of Venice. Technically, Venice is just a huge neighborhood that is now like almost 500,000 people. And so through that, I learned how to, put something online. At the time was just a few lines of codes, and there was no editor. You need to come up with, some code to show something on the page. And thanks to that, I found out that, the deal was to sell actually ads to local companies to have the logo on this, just a page of activities of my city. So I formally opened my first company when I was 18. I was helped by my uncle. He was a professor like in Polytechnic in Zurich, even if he's Italian. So I had some help at the time. Then I wanted to study actually architecture, and I still in love with it. It's my biggest passion, architecture and design. But then I chose to study computer science in Venice. And since like day one, studying wasn't definitely enough. Like I really wanted to do things. And actually, when you study computer science, you're really lucky because you start from day one pretty much to code. And coding in today's world is really helpful. You can do things. So pretty much I wanted to work. I wanted to not just to study. So after a few months, I started to work for some companies as a freelance. And then formally 2 years later, I opened, a second company as Digitix in 1999. That is the very first company, like a service company. It was a small agency. It was just me and a couple of consultants. And at the time, Internet, was starting to be known in Italy, but definitely was maybe a little bit different than the United States. So to make the story short, I want really to push, to sell, to talk, internet about to companies, to businesses, and they were not maybe as receptive as I was hoping. So pretty much, I really wanted to do things fast, like to run fast, to be in the fast lane, but it wasn't that easy. So after my graduation, like 5 years later, I chose to try an experience in the US. First in New York. It was definitely the worst time ever to do that. It was after 9/11, so not easy to find a job, or even for American people. So imagine like an Italian guy that were barely speaking English like now, and then it was there as I would say an immigrant. But my idea was to stay for 3-6 months, try an experience, and come back. And then I found out that 3-6 months is not enough to try something, learn a new language, and then thanks to the language, get into able to sell yourself to companies, and maybe as a consultant or as an employee, it wasn't definitely easy. So during that time, I was in New York. I found that it was really hard, and I found an internship at a company that was in Los Angeles, and I didn't want to go to Los Angeles. I mean, I didn't like it. I was already been there, but so I chose to accept the offer, just to put something in my resume. And I was there for a few months. The idea was to go back to New York, but then during the time, after I put something in my resume, so I was ready to move back. It was Christmas time, and Christmas time in LA is like 25 degrees Celsius, and New York was like minus 25. So I chose to stay a little bit longer, like for a few months, but those few months turned out to be 4 years. So I stayed in LA for like 4 years. I opened my first company, like the one opened in Italy, in the US. And I started to first to sell, let's say, web services to Italian companies there, and then I switched to American businesses. Actually, one of the first people that worked with me was a guy from Chile, and at the time I barely knew where Chile was, and he was still actually a very talented graphic designer, and the company started to grow a little bit. And we were like 7 people at a time, and in that moment I found out that I had a real company. It wasn't just me anymore. And when the company started to grow is when you start to have some problems. Like, I studied computer science. I didn't study how to manage a company. So maybe I was really good into information technology, but it wasn't good enough to manage a group of people, to manage the whole process. Like, you cannot be, the CTO and the CEO and the HR and the communication. Yeah, maybe at the beginning you do it, but then when the company gets structured, you need to be able to, deliver, like to delegate tasks to people, and at the beginning was really hard. During the time, I chose to study a master. It was a master at UCLA. It was a master in international marketing. And why I mention that to you? Because during that, I've been offered a possibility to do like a thesis regarding, after the degree, I would say. And the thesis was about an innovative project. So I chose to build a social network. At the time, MySpace was just started about 1-2 years before. It was around 2005. So I built this social network, and the name was Keeple. Keeple stands for Key People. So the first reason why I built this, because I had some clients, one in Italy, one in New York, one in LA, that they were looking for a software to manage contacts, like their own contacts, the first contacts online, like emails and profile, similar to MySpace, but for their own use, like a sort of a private label, a private website. So I chose, instead of building, different version, I chose to build what I call a framework, and then I customize each version for each client. So when I launched it, I won the prize at UCLA as one of the most interesting projects of the year, and I got an immediate traction, like several thousand users subscribed to it, so I was really excited. I invested a lot of money into that. For me, I didn't call it startup, because for me it was just a project of the company. And during the days of the launch, when I was starting to understand what to do with it, how to sell it, okay, I had some users, and then what? How to make money out of it, and then I found out I needed more money to manage it, to build it. So during those days, in the office that I was renting was sort of a co-working space. It's like a little office in a communal area where there are like, the front desk girls, answering the phone calls. And so during one of those days, there were like a ton of people downstairs in the building, like journalists, TV. So I asked around what's going on, and they told me, oh yeah, MySpace has been acquired. Okay, fine. So why people are here? Oh yeah, because MySpace is your building. What do you mean is your building? Oh yeah, like your unit's like, the suite number is 301 and MySpace was 302. That's what? The guy next door, the guy I had sandwich with is the founder. Oh yeah, Tom from MySpace. At the time, MySpace was not MySpace Inc., was actually Intermix. It was a different company. So I ended up knowing by the press that I was pretty much sharing the same speed with MySpace. It was a nice news, and then I thought about my project and said, okay, so if MySpace has been acquired, the reason for the press was because MySpace was acquired by Fox for $500 to $1 million, I remember clearly the number. So I thought, okay, now what should I do with my project? I thought that was like a one-shot opportunity, Of course, it didn't build it to be acquired, but at the same time, when you think, the internet market at the time was definitely more limited than today. At the time, we're talking about, the record was about 100 million users for MySpace. That was pretty much the entire population at the time. So I thought, where do I want to go with my thing, Of course, it was a big mistake, because I could have just pretty much continue what I was doing. Actually, during those months, Facebook was just starting. So I signed up in Facebook at the time, 2005, was one of the early users. And my social network was very similar to it. I had the wall, out to friends, the log, like it was very similar to it. And then Facebook was on the East Coast and it was on the West Coast. So I even thought, yeah, maybe I can do it. But I didn't think the market was large enough to do it. And then I was scared. I was not thinking about, oh, I can go to investor. I was in Los Angeles and there is no, what I found out later on, there was no Silicon Valley vibe. So I didn't even know the term VC at the time, didn't know the term angel, didn't know the term investor into a, a small company or small guy project. So I pretty much, I don't want to say I gave it up. I pretty much sold it to some clients as a private label, even if my original idea was to pretty much to connect universities and share the single sign-on among universities in the way you can hop in different portals, and then on a higher level having a huge community of people. And actually it's still live, but of course I never touch it since then. It's just a memorabilia, it's there. But definitely, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself to look for investor and to, maybe I could have been the next Zuckerberg or the next founder of Ning. Actually, it was very similar to Ning at the time.